Maybe you already have your real estate license, but you're afraid to put yourself out there because you don't know what you would do with an opportunity if you had it. Maybe you feel like you have no support or no training or no knowledge about the real estate industry. Or maybe you're just wondering if a career in real estate could be for you. Maybe you're curious about that. You could also be an experienced real estate agent in the DC metro area that is curious about what it looks like to have a regular real estate business in contrast to that of one serving heroes like at Foxtrot Company. If you are one of those people, this video is for you, and I'm going to honor your curiosity. This is not going to be me on stage. There's no slides, presentations, bar graphs, any of that. This is just a conversation between me and you from wherever you're comfortable. So I'm just going to kind of walk through a little bit about those differences and maybe give you a few tips that could help you out in your decision-making process about a career in real estate or a direction you need to go. So for starters, who the heck am I and why am I giving you this video? So my name is Karen Hall. I've had my real estate license in the DC metro area for 21 years now, since 2004. Got out my license. I got it because my husband was in the military. We moved to the area and we tried to buy our first home and it was terrible. I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know anyone in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I didn't even know that it was a Commonwealth instead of a state. But what I did know from day one was that anyone buying or selling a home deserved a better experience than what we were having. It was terrible. People weren't showing up to appointments. No one would call you back. And it's already one of the most stressful times of your life. So I knew that I could do it better. That's what prompted me to go get my real estate license. Again, knew nothing about the business. And all I did know was that the needs of the military community was very different than that of a civilian. I still get asked how those are different to this day. But that's what I did know. And I dug into that from day one. I was at Center 21, a large major franchise, and I had to start off with figuring out what are the things I learned on my test and what do I actually need to know. So I dug in from day one, started branding myself as a military specialist. I went out and got a bright yellow H2 Hummer, the big one. I had military specialist graphics all over it. And I just started putting myself into a niche instead of being a generalist. Fast forward now, a few steps in between there, I was a real estate agent there for about 7 years. Had another transition come up. Around those times, there was this beautiful thing called the internet that exploded, and so did HGTV. I was looking around at the realtors in my office and the interactions I was having with clients and realized I was now having to defend my value and my commission as a buyer's agent because the buyer knew more than I did. They could go on Google, they could go on HGTV, they were watching all these shows, and they would want to tour a house and want to know things like, what are these materials? Can I remove this wall? They had all these grandiose ideas, and they honestly were starting to look at us as more door openers. Likewise, I was seeing agents come to these office sales training meetings. We progressed to where, it was a no laptop zone. They had rules where we couldn't bring our laptops. The reason people were bringing their laptops was because they weren't finding these meetings valuable. So at that time, I decided, okay, Center 21's a little behind me. I went out and started my own company, so an independent brokerage called At Home Real Estate. I built At Home Real Estate up with the heart of our location being in Old Town Alexandria. Had gotten up to 25 agents on that brokerage. It was very much a brokerage, but an independently owned one. So not a franchise, not a Keller Williams or a Center 21, for example. Ran that, like I said, with about 25 agents. We had to get the word out there because we decided we were going to be innovative and be the world's first real estate design and our lounge and design center. So had a different model, wanted to really educate agents and provide that service to buyers and also sellers on what, some of these home improvement ideas and some of that value. Fast forward with that, I'm still continuing just to dig into the niche marketing. We were focusing primarily on the military, serving other heroes, but mostly military because that's what I knew. And my expertise was just adding up year over year. So a couple of years ago on Veterans Day, I shut down At Home Real Estate and opened all new independent brokerage called Foxtrot Company. We are completely all in on heroes, because it's just gotten more and more important that you know how to serve the military community. And the concept being, you've got to be tip of the spear and absolutely on point and exceptional to serve the military community when they're moving and buying and selling and renting. So any civilian or someone that's local is just going to benefit from those cascading expertises that we have. So that's where we're at with Foxtrot Company and just kind of how we got here. I've been averaging a personal business of around 30 million a year ever since I got rid of a scarcity mindset. And now we're structured as a team. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background of just who I am and why I'm talking to you. But this is not about Foxtrot Company. This video is about the only thing that matters, which is you and your business. So I've got a few notes. I'm going to go through a few big topics. Again, my goal is to give you some takeaways to help structure your ideas, your insights, and your understanding about a business in real estate, especially if you want to kind of look at how you're serving heroes in that community. So the first things I wanted to hit on is, if you're getting your real estate license, again, maybe you already have it, you're already painfully aware of this fact, but if you're just new to the industry, or maybe you're thinking about getting your license, there's the things that you test for to get your real estate license, and then there's the things that you actually need to know. And I feel like a lot of people don't tell agents that. And honestly, we've had agents that are in the industry for decades, and they still don't have a hang on things like branding and marketing are two different things. So you pass we kind of joke that you study for your real estate license, you pass that test, hopefully the first time, maybe not. And you're learning things like calculating square footage and meets and bounds. And I hate to say it, but we kind of joke about you're just taking those things for the test. Once you get your license now, what you don't have any practice or training on is you need to know about time management. You need to know, be a master at logistics, managing timelines for clients, timelines for contractors, even logistics and just scheduling house hunting with buyers for a day. So you got to get a lot of practice in logistics. You've got to understand that marketing and branding are two very different things. Marketing is kind of something that you do to draw attention to a house. It could be things that you do for marketing to get business to yourself as well. But branding is what other people decide that you're going to be known for. So there's a whole nother world that we dive pretty deep into with our agents on personal branding. So that's another thing. Again, time management, lead generation, communication, even just communication skills and how you communicate with people, negotiations, objection handling, you name it. So there's a lot of those things that you've got to be able to be in an environment and a community that can help enrich those things and teach those things to you. Absolutely should be teachable. And it should be even better if someone can tailor those things to kind of what your personality style is. But just be prepared. Like I said, if you're thinking about getting into real estate, there's a lot of those kinds of things that once you pass that test and you've hung your license somewhere, you need to make sure that you're doing that somewhere that can teach you all of those things. And sure, you can outsource and hire some coaches. You can take online courses. But you've still got to have somebody that can source those or support those things. I was talking to an agent last week, and she was saying, the place that she came from, they were encouraging a lot of social media posts and things like that. But her response to that was, okay, well, that's great. But then nobody was liking her post or giving her feedback on her post or interacting with them to try to boost it. And she thought that was an important way of supporting her. So that's some of the things that you need to know other than what you're testing for. The next I've kind of alluded to is, now that you know those things, you've got to put yourself in an environment where you have opportunities to use them. We try to focus on an individual agent's personality type and things that are going to click with you, things you're going to be maybe slightly uncomfortable doing, but things that are going to, resonate and get your energy high, and you're going to look forward to learning more about them. If you maybe are excited about learning to do open houses, for example, well, you need to be at a brokerage or on a team or in an environment where they have listings. Otherwise, it's going to be a little more challenging trying to find homes that you can do open houses for. Maybe you want to dig into TikTok. Maybe you want to dig into Instagram or Facebook or YouTube videos. Any of those things a door knocking. You want to leverage calling around listings and circle prospecting, things like that. Again, are you in an environment that's going to support you in doing those? We tend to create a ton of opportunities for content creation. Any of our listings that we have coming up, we make sure that all of our agents know exactly if those houses are getting any renovations done. When are those properties open so they can go do before and afters of renovations? Are they getting before and afters of the staging? Of course, open houses, coming soons, all of that. But we give them access to all these properties, even behind the scenes kind of stuff, in order to help them create content. We make suggestions like, here's some coffee shops and donut places that are nearby our listing that's coming up. Recommend you go film a reel or whatever it is to promote that content as well. Or is this condo we just listed a prime demographic for an agent who's wanting to target first-time home buyers? Pull in some resources from lenders that we know. Those kinds of things just kind of create an entire environment that you've got to put yourself in to leverage. Now you know what things that you need to know to generate business opportunities, but now are you putting yourself in an environment where you can generate those opportunities? So just plan ahead for those. The next thing I wanted to kind of highlight is, I get asked this a lot, is what's the typical business look like for an average realtor, a day in the life kind of thing? And then how does that compare and contrast to one of a hero specialist? So we, again, are focused on serving heroes, but primarily military. So we work with a ton of military buyers that are not even in the area. Even the needs of a military seller are different than a civilian because they may be moving after only 1 to 3 years. So every penny kind of matters. So from my experience in the past as a typical real estate agent, I hear you're going to sales meetings, at least once a week. You may have team meetings that you're going to trainings. You're trying to focus a lot on lead generation for yourself, which could be a lot of phone calls. Maybe you're trying to target expired listings, withdrawn listings. Maybe you're at a team or a company, which is kind of more common, that company or that team leader is paying a ton of money for leads. So they may be buying online leads from Realtor.com, Zillow.com. I think those are kind of the two primaries. I know a team leader out of another state. He spends $500,000 a month, $500,000 a month on just buying leads that his agents service. Now, the trade-off of what you kind of could feel is a little bit different vibe in those brokerages or teams. I know because I've tried to help those team leaders grow their agent sphere business or their referral-based business. They don't want to encourage necessarily the sphere or referral business, because if you find that business more rewarding of working with your own people that you've kind of generated relationships with, you're going to be less inclined to want to service or work the leads that they're paying a ton of money for. So they've decided that's their lead source. They're going to spend a lot of money on that lead. They're probably going to pass on that cost to you, but they're going to need you to continue working those leads, or they're not going to get any, or they're going to lose a ton of money. So a lot of that is really focused around, making phone calls, the call, text, tracking all those activities, tracking all the phone calls. And so it's just a ton of that. So it's a lot of trying to reach out to people. You get their information from somewhere, you're reaching out to those people and trying to keep them on the phone, kind of have good conversations with them. I've been told that if you're really great at that, your conversion rate's like 4%. But that's just the grind. That's just how it goes. If you are trying to be a real estate agent and set yourself apart, it's incredibly difficult. If somebody needs a real estate agent, I can promise you in this area, they probably know at least 3 to 10 other real estate agents. Even if you try to encourage them to, refer you and give out your information, they're going to know, they're like, oh, well, this agent's great. You should work with Jane. And the friend is thinking, oh yeah, Jane's great. So is John. So is Mike. They're all kind of the same. So how are you going to set yourself apart? It's just very, very, very hard. It's very difficult. But I would say, unless someone corrects me, that's kind of how the general business goes. You are just trying to set yourself out there, trying to set your brand apart. You've got to push that brand. You've got to stand out as someone different. You've got to allow people to connect with you and who you are instead of what you are, which is just another one of 30,000 agents in Virginia. So that's just kind of your day in, day out. Get up, log into your CRM, your contact relationship management software platform. It could be a notebook, a spreadsheet, whatever you're going to use. You've got to get up and systematically start off going through that book, look at relationships, look at leads, and contact those people and contact them again. And just contact them again and again. People spend about 80% of their time in the curiosity phase. If they're looking to buy a house, maybe more so than selling, they live at about 80% of their time in curiosity. And you're just trying to be the one that's there when they switch to where they're committed to making a move. So that's your sole purpose, your sole mission. If you're just trying to start yourself out, kick it off there as a real estate agent, you've got to pick some activities that you can do every single day and track it and stick to it. Whatever activities that are going to move your business forward, you have got to do those non-negotiably, consistently, and day in and day out. And the market has shifted. We go through different phases. I've seen lots of markets since 2004 when I got my license, but this one's not easy. You've got to pick the activities that are going to move you forward. And if you think maybe that's 10 phone calls, you probably actually need about 100 phone calls. And yes, some people are doing that in a day. So that's kind of the type of people. And then a little bit about the type of people that you tend to be working with. If you're just focused on, I'm a real estate agent and I do all things, a lot of agents do that because they really don't want to miss out on one opportunity. So I think that's kind of one of the biggest mistakes I've seen agents make. You don't want to miss out on one thing, so you're absolutely everything to everyone. But then you're just a generalist. And quite honestly, you're putting yourself in that pocket where agents like to just claim their rankings. So then it's production. Then you're just, how many houses have you sold? How many years have you been in the business? You're just a door opener again. But I find if you can choose something that maybe you have a personal connection to, or you're passionate about, or you have an expertise in, go all in on whatever that is, and then just be willing to be brave and be known as the expert. You're superior at that. You're just fantastic at that, and people are going to come to you for that. But that's kind of the general dealing with someone, hoping to find a buyer, hoping to find a seller at the time when they're interested in moving, and it aligns with your services and them clicking with you and your value proposition. That's when you kind of start into getting that of, you got to negotiate your commission, communicate your value, all those kinds of good things. A little bit different on the business that I've now chosen to lead and create. We work with heroes, which just means, we say heroes because we have a gratitude program that includes police, firefighters, nurses, and teachers. So that's why you'll hear me say heroes a lot. But they are about 98% of them are military. So I honestly don't know why any real estate agent would not want to have a business that is designed in this way, but obviously I'm a little biased. So what I think is phenomenal about being a hero specialist in real estate is, one, we absolutely are known for being experts at things like VA loans, buyers purchasing homes when they're not even here, and then just understanding their needs of, not going house to house, short timelines, their financing, all those kinds of things. So yes, we have a leg up at having the expertise, but on the real estate agent side, we are now working with a community of people that have to move no matter what the market is doing every 1 to 3 years. It doesn't matter what interest rates are doing. It doesn't matter what inventory is. We hear all these other agents in the most recent 2 years even, a ton of agents that did a lot of business consistently. They're mega brokers, mega teams. They were down by 70% in their sales because all of a sudden the interest rates went up or inventory was low. And so anyone who's just thinking about making a move, they're going to sit, they're going to wait it out. There's uncertainty. We had an election year. There's, turmoil in the world or whatever it is economically. A military buyer is not going to make a decision about whether or not it's a good time to move to the DC metro area. They have to move. They have orders in hand. They're going to move. That also makes them incredibly decisive. So you're not working with someone who's thinking about finding the perfect home. And when they find it, then they might have to get their house on the market. That could take 2 years. I know because I have a couple of civilian buyers and we've been thinking about it and periodically looking houses for a couple of years. One of my very first clients years and years or decades ago, civilians didn't have to move. They were renting, looking for the ideal house. I kid you not, we toured 100+ homes before they got their winning one under contract. So that's a little bit different as far as someone that's decisive, someone that's on a timeline, they have to move no matter what, 1 to 3 years. You are creating your own market by doing this kind of thing. But the cherry on top that we've really discovered, and I train my agents to, is we have a ton of buyers that are not here. I don't know about you, but I kind of wish I could charge a home buyer extra if they wanted to tour houses with me. I've spent 4 hours driving around to show 3 houses to someone, and they didn't want any of them. It's not anything against them. It just didn't meet their needs, or it wasn't what they expected based on the online listing. Or what's the golden ticket is they don't see the things in the house that I see, that my agents see. Every single time we walk through a house and we point things out and they're like, I didn't even see these things. Some of our clients have turned it into a game where they say, oh, I'm going to walk into this room and I'm going to see if I can figure out what you're going to spot that's wrong with the house. But I can tell you what's amazing in a busy season is now one of my team members has the opportunity to say, hey, I've got this client that's looking at this house in Burke. Oh, you know what? This person over here on the team has already toured that one and I've trained them to do videos in a specific way. They take about 20 to 30 minute videos per house. And then we share them with the clients at the leisure of their house or their schedule. It could be they're in Japan, they're in Germany, they're in Hawaii. We send them these videos and they can watch them at their convenience. But that's amazing because we already have the videos that if a different client asked for the same property, they just launch us and we get to be the boots on the ground. We tour the property and then we send them the videos. Also then, if I have 3 different families that are looking at houses all in that same city or in the vicinity of it, maybe we got one in Springfield, one in Burke, and a couple others nearby, I can now in about an hour and a half time go video tour multiple properties for the same client or different clients all by myself. And I'm flying through the house and I'm pointing things out. And again, 90% of those houses are not one that they're going to want to ride on. But I've now saved myself all kinds of time and energy and efficiency, and the client's having a better experience, but because they're not walking through houses and distracting themselves with furnishings and then finding out, I didn't know there was a moldy basement or a crack in the foundation. So I think it's the best business you could possibly ever want to create for yourself, as specializing with heroes, but especially with military. It's so efficient. We can help way more people. You can literally go tour a house for someone on the way to pick up your dry cleaning if you want. But again, doesn't matter the market. I consistently can predict my income year over year because the market is the same for me. So that's a little bit different. If you want to go all in and kind of an example of how you can go niche marketing, I did that from day one of my career back in 2004. And now I've just got people all around the world that know me as the expert in helping military clients. It's to the point now where I have agents that are in our market that are sending me their clients because they know that I know it better than they do. So that's just kind of an example of you could go all in on any niche that you chose to. And you could even specialize in a different community. Maybe you don't have anything to do with the military whatsoever, but you want to go all in on estates or divorces or whatever that is. You could still create a business for yourself similarly as just being a specialist. So that's a little bit of compare and contrast about kind of the types of activities or the day in the life of a regular real estate agent that's just kind of touring a bunch of houses for somebody. Usually that's let's go out, let's drive around a few hours, let's tour some homes, let's make a bunch of phone calls, that kind of thing. Nothing wrong with it, just a totally different way of doing business. A day in the life of one of my team members, we could be popping by a listing that's coming up to get videos because the staging's coming. We could be, half the time I'm delivering mirrors and light fixtures because we also help them with renovations. It could be, again, previewing properties for somebody that they're not even here, which, by the way, doubles as content. putting on Instagram or Facebook that you're touring homes for people. So that's a little bit of the difference between a couple different routes that you could take with your business. Leads versus a referrals or repeat business. So I've talked a little bit about the different models. I think more at traditional models, you might be looking for a team or for a company or a brokerage because they give you the stability of those leads. So you don't have to go out and generate business on your own. You can kind of be guaranteed, or they'll promise, a certain number of leads or names of people that at some point have raised their hand, hopefully, and are thinking about making a move, want to see a property, or have questions. So I think the majority of realtors probably build their businesses and sustain their businesses on getting leads from somewhere. An individual agent could buy leads from Realtor.com or Zillow.com, or I've heard a myriad of other websites or lead sources that people pay for a list of people's contact information. I've always chosen to do a business more on referral, but I will give you a caveat that I've heard several speakers and coaches tell people that if anyone tells you they have more than 70% of their business is based on referral, that they're lying. I can tell you, I use Sisu as a transaction software, and I can show you that my business consistently year over year is actually 98% by referral, repeat client, or reputation. I'm not buying leads anywhere. And the remaining 2% of that business is coming from one postcard campaign that we have absolutely cracked the code on. We'll mail out about 12,000 postcards in one print run and get about 3 listings consistently. That is just because we have nailed the value proposition with the messaging and the audience that we're sending it to, because we have proprietary software that targets military sellers. So we just lined those all up, and that's the remaining 2% of my business. But working by referral, you cannot get that higher percentages of referral business if you're not doing something systematically to show gratitude. So that's a whole entire different thing. But why I started with referral business from day one, I'll correct myself. I started my business with a few leads from Century 21 and by working with renters. Any renters that came my way, I just helped them, and I realized that they kind of get treated like second-class citizens. They don't know that they can ask for help from a real estate agent, and they tend to perceive that you did it more out of the kindness of your heart than getting paid the big bucks like they think you do if you help them buy or sell a house. So I said, send me the renters, I will take them. That's a relationship. They appreciate you, and they will send you even more referrals and even apologize if their referral is only wanting to rent. Fantastic way to build your business is working with those renters. I've had I call them my VIPs. I've had some of the same clients for 18 years now, and they started out as renters, and now maybe they've done 3 transactions with me. So I started out that way, but as far as building the business after that on referrals, safety started becoming a consideration. I didn't like that the leads were coming into the company and then getting pushed to me, and I didn't know anything about these people. Our industry can be dangerous. If you don't believe me, Google the news. I had too many instances of me going through houses and having to have safety things in place with a system of telling someone, here's the order of the houses I'm going to and the address, and I would text them 112233, meaning I got there, I left. Or there's occasions when I literally kept my phone open as I was touring houses because I really didn't feel safe or really didn't feel comfortable. So I didn't love that about working with leads and people I had no connection to whatsoever, but there was also a compatibility factor. No one really had a great experience if we just didn't click because I was just a door opener to them. We had nothing in common. I remember in my office in Center 21, there was an agent who came in at the end of the day and she was like dragging a borrowed car seat behind her. And she was just complaining about how these people had kids and they were sneezing and, Cheerios are flying. That was not an ideal demographic for her. But I've known other real estate agents that I helped that built their entire businesses exploded because they leaned into the mom factor, the mom card, and making touring houses into play dates. So there's ways to do that and build, again, referrals, relationships, all that kind of stuff. but it was just so much more rewarding to me, and I had a much better experience. The client had a much better experience, and then you get referrals or they call you again in the future. And if you look at the cost of acquisition of a new client or a new customer in dollars, buying the lead, staying on top of it, why would you continue to just keep getting more new people that say, thanks for the transaction, and you never hear from them again? Instead of, hey, I've just had multiple deals with these. I just closed on a house yesterday. I originally helped the guy buy the house in 2008. And then since then, I helped him rent the house. And then yesterday, we sold it for $400,000 more than he helped buy it. That's a long-term relationship. He's the third person this week that oddly I had reached out to me that I knew from 2008. And they wanted me to do another piece of business. That's a relationship. So you can choose two paths. The scary part about building a business on referrals is because it takes a little bit of time and you have to do it by following a system or being consistent. I know tons of agents, there's a whole industry, right? Brian Buffini, pop buys, client events, gifts, all these kinds of things. But believe me, I have coached agents on this across the country and I've seen it 100 times. People will do that, agents will do that for 2 to 3 months and it works. And then you get busy and you're attending home inspections and other work appointments that are opportunities. And you're like, it's okay if I don't do it this month because I'm doing business. 2 to 3 months of that behavior and you're like, where the heck did everyone go? So we have a system. I've actually created it. It's in a program. It's called the VIP program. I've spoken on national stages about it. That's probably the number one requested topic I get is the VIP program. I've had some agents in the country have me build their programs for them, but now we do it at the team level. I create that program and then my team follows it for the whole entire year. But happy to help you if you need some guidance on that. But you've got to build it systematically, which means every single month, absolutely no fail. You are reaching out to your top people that know you, love you, trust you, and would send you business if you ask them. But that is a road that you could absolutely take as a path to build your business out, where you could also have above 90% of your business based on referrals. But the other option is go somewhere that they sell you leads. So either of those works. Tools are an alternative to buying leads. So I've been talking to a lot of agents recently, and I kind of realized through those conversations, and a couple of them have said, I don't need you to give me leads, you're giving me tools. So I realized kind of the difference. So just look for some of these if you're at a team, again, a brokerage, wherever you're looking to go. You might not need to rely all your laurels on, the relationship business right out of the gate or referrals while they're building up. But maybe you don't have to focus as much on buying leads if you have the right tools. What kind of tools are those? Anything that you can use to leverage, to promote, to get, attention, to set yourself apart, to increase your value proposition to a client, any of those kinds of things. So I'm not talking about social media, although that is one, but a tool for us would be something like, we have what's called TRH, or the Renovated Home Program. We created it more than a decade ago and classified it as a program, and we promoted as such as a value prop where our agents are trained on knowing materials of a house. So types of countertops, can you rip out a wall? Are these real wood floors? Are they not real floors? Advising people on paint colors. All the things that a homeowner would be scared to do to their house and make mistakes because they're expensive. It originally was created for buyers because so many buyers were losing out on homes. They would try to, they'd see one that they liked. They couldn't get information in time to make an offer, or they wouldn't make a reasonable offer because they didn't know how much things would cost to make it perfect. And they didn't know who to call or any of those resources. So buyers were missing out and they weren't having the same experience as a brand new construction home purchase where you get a design center day. So we created TRH originally for buyers, but it's really pushed into even the listings world, where a ton of sellers now love the fact that they call us and they're like, here's my keys and here's my credit card. Just tell me what's worth doing and put it on the card. So we get a ton of listings because homeowners will now call us, and instead of what all these other agents are doing, not all the other agents, but I get a lot of feedback of, an agent saying that they're going to help people with renovations, but what they're really giving is just a list. So they're like, here's a list of all my contractors. I recommend you call them, leverage my reputation if you like, but it's still on the homeowner to figure out exactly what to do. The little tiny things like, I've got to pick out, I need to replace my light fixture. Cool. Well, what do I buy for the light fixture? Where do I buy it? Is it 2 lights? Is it 3 lights in the vanity? Should I pick chrome? Should I pick brushed nickel? Is it worth doing quartz countertops? What do you mean? I need to replace my vanity and I need to make sure the sink is in the same place because of the plumbing. All those things that a homeowner does not know, and they could be very expensive mistakes. Even painting their house and spending $10,000 on painting their house the wrong shade of gray could decrease the value of their house instead of increasing it. So we really created TRH, for example, as this program that all of our agents have the opportunity to promote and do before and afters and case studies and success stories. And just they know stuff now that people can't Google. You can't Google, here's my house, this is what it looks like, what's worth doing? How much is it as is? And how much would it be if I made some of these changes to it? So it really is an amazing tool to set apart one of our agents, for example. Another tool for us would be 100 Heroes Project. So we created our own gratitude program called the 100 Heroes Project, has its own brand and everything. But we said that our goal is to help 100 heroes a year, and we give back 25% of our commission at closing. So for sellers, that's a little bit of a discounted commission. On the buyer side, they literally get a credit on the settlement statement from us for 25% back of our commission that we would earn on that transaction. That is a huge, huge tool for one of our agents because, as I mentioned in the beginning, lots of people refer you and they'll tell people to call. But the second someone says, oh, like Jane is fantastic, and they're like, oh, okay, cool, I'll call. No, you don't understand. Jane gave me $5,000 back on closing. Oh, okay. Now instead, our agents tend to get the, hey, are you accepting new clients? Could you help me find a house? So that little tool alone, and we've given back over $1 million, well over $1 million at this point. But now we're doing something out of an abundance mindset. We're trying to give money away. We're doing it out of true gratitude. And it's opened tons of doors because we're doing it out of gratitude instead of trying to take from people. So 100 Heroes Project is an amazing tool for our client or our agents. Some of them obviously we're promoting heavily for the military, but we've had teachers that said they wanted to go all in on marketing that program or that tool to teachers because there aren't a lot of gratitude things for teachers and they don't know about it. So trying to get in with teachers, trying to get in with nurses, becoming that as a specialization, for example. But 100 Heroes Project and TRH are kind of examples of a tool that I would just look for. Again, if you're looking for a team, a brokerage, wherever you want to set up your business, look for things like that you can leverage, that you can combine to make yourself shine and make yourself stand out. So try to find yourself some of those. I would invest in those even more than I would leads, but that's just me. Daily activities, just wanted to hit on that briefly. We've talked about now some different types of business you can have, different ways that you can generate your business, and I've alluded to it a little bit, but if I could give you one tip, you've got to, of course, set goals. If you aim at nothing, you're going to hit it. But daily activities. Look at your business, look at how you want to grow it, look at the pillars that you want to build your business on, whether it's social media, it's content creation, it's YouTube, it's open houses, it's networking, it's hosting events. Just pick 2, maybe 3 of those and think of it like a stool. That's the things that you want to build your business on. Based on the things that are going to move your business forward. Again, it could be cold calling. It could be circle prospecting. It could be marketing to expired listings or withdrawals. Those are also options. But whatever is going to move your business forward, you've got to pick the activities that you're going to do daily, and you are going to track these. So they need to be in some kind of a tracking, a CRM, a database that you can track those activities and keep yourself accountable and doing them every single day. You have to measure what matters, and that's what matters most. So maybe your daily activities is I'm going to make this many phone calls. Maybe it's I'm going to knock on this many doors. Maybe I've known agents who built their entire businesses just on social media posts. So our agents, you got to make one personal post a day, one professional post a day, and at least 3 people or 5, you're going to either comment on interact with people's posts or send people a DM, something like, hey, I saw that you guys are moving next week. Do you need any boxes? Whatever it is, engage with people. If you do nothing else out of this video, but pick a daily activity of a personal and professional post and reaching out to 3 people that are in your friends on Facebook a day, and you do it every single day, that alone can build your business. So pick your daily activities and track them and follow them. Do not deviate. That is the best thing that you can control in a way of building your business. So daily activities. So we have covered a lot. I just want to wrap it up for you now. I hopefully gave you some kind of takeaways that, again, you can use to get a little insight into what does this real estate business and career look like if you're thinking about getting a real estate license. Or maybe, again, you're experienced and you're trying to think of ways that you can change your business or step it up or make it more reliable or consistent. But whatever, I just wanted to give you some takeaways. If you are curious a little bit more about Foxtrot Company or who we are, again, we're an independent brokerage, so we're not owned, we're not a part of EXP or Real or Compass or Weikert or any of those things. That makes me the broker. So I am the broker and I'm the team leader. That makes me the help desk for the agents as well. We're licensed in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and I'm kind of the helm of it, shining a beacon on opportunities for our agents and our brand. I love our brand. It's kind of amazing. It's sticky and people send me foxes and pictures of foxes and it gives a little bit of personality and memorability. But that's how I just wanted to kind of help you, dominate listings, dominate buyers, just dial your business just a little bit more. But if anything at all, if you find yourself a little bit more curious still about Foxtrot Company, we've got some next steps. I'm happy to help. If there's any of these topics that I've shared with you, absolutely happy to help with that too. Just be sure and follow on social media, reach out, DM, let us know how we can connect.